What's going on, everybody? Can you all hear me now? All right, so today we're going to talk about the Arizona skyrocketing prices. So prices are skyrocketing all across the country here, and people in Arizona are concerned. So that's what we're going to talk about in this guide here. So if you guys have any comments about what you guys think about the cost of living here in Arizona, please let us know in the comments your experience. But we did do a poll where we polled people here, 1.2 thousand people on this channel. Cost of living in Arizona continues to skyrocket. Is this a concern for you and your family? 79% of people said yes. 13% said no. 8% said not sure. So you can see this is really hitting people hard in Arizona, but it's happening all across the country. I'm aware of that. It's not just Arizona. We're going to drill in some data here and talk about what's happening elsewhere and where Arizona stacks up in comparison to inflation across the country. So if you guys are excited about this video, smash the likes, and we're going to talk about all things related to the skyrocketing home prices across the state. So let's take a look here at some of the things you need to pay attention to. So you can see inflation across the United States. It tells you which states are experiencing the highest level of inflation. The ones in blue here, those are the ones that are experiencing the highest number. But you can see it's happening mostly in lower cost states. So states that had low cost of living previously, they're really advancing faster than places like California, Washington, New York, or places where the prices were already high. What's happening now is the rest of the country is kind of catching up to those guys, and they're inflating, but they're not inflating at the same pace that the other states are inflating at. So I see you guys. Someone said, what do you think of South Scottsdale? We'll talk about South Scottsdale here in a little bit. I'll read some of these comments as they're coming in. But I'm also going to show you some more data here. And you can see Arizona on the Wall Street Journal here. I had to pay for this membership with Wall Street Journal. That's okay. Arizona Homes asking $30.6 million in the state most expensive listing. So this home, it looks like it's on Camelback Mountain, going for $30.6 million. That's unheard of for prices in Arizona. I mean, that's somewhere in Paradise Valley. But these prices just keep going higher and higher and higher. By the way, guys, if you're looking for a real estate agent, my brother's a real estate agent. I know some of you are moving here even though the prices keep going up. I pinned the comment to the top, and I also put the comment below. You can contact him if you have any questions about real estate. But let's keep this going here as we continue to talk about some of the more important things you need to know. So I'll just give you some other examples. I used to live in Santan Valley. The home that I bought in Santan Valley was around this area right here for $270,000. Well, nowadays, that same home is going for around $485,000. It's not on the market, but you could see the price from 2018 to now, it literally doubled in value in Santan Valley. That gives you perspective. I'm sitting here thinking, wow, I should have held on to my house because I would have literally doubled my money. It's amazing how much the prices have gone up, isn't that? But that's just some look around Santan Valley. But if I took it anywhere around the nation, I could, or even around the state. Here's another thing, out of reach. You can see right here, these are the states. How much do you need to earn to afford a modest apartment in your state? You can see the ones in dark blue, those are the most expensive ones. The ones in light blue are mid, and then the ones in light blue are only two, West Virginia and Arkansas. So if you're looking for really cheap living, it looks like the places you can find that, West Virginia and Arkansas. But no one wants to live there. That's why it's so cheap. If you wanted another alternative to Arizona that's not considered out of bounds yet, I guess you could look at New Mexico. But let's take a look at some of this data more indirectly. So if I zoom out here, I get a whole look at Phoenix Metro, and I can tell you how much you need to make for a two-bedroom housing wage by zip code, okay? So this is the National Low-Income Housing Coalition. As per 2021, it tells you how much you need to make per hour in order to afford a two-bedroom apartment. So in the area around Scottsdale, say, let's just look around Scottsdale real quick. It looks like it's an average of $32 an hour to afford a two-bedroom apartment. That's how much you need to make on a 40-hour work week. Now, if you go into the Phoenix area, you can get into $22 an hour. The cheapest that you can find around Phoenix, based on this graph, it looks like it's going to be around Glendale area, around $21. So if you're trying to find more affordable housing in Phoenix Metro, it looks like you're going to be able to find that in Glendale more than anywhere else. I can even keep going all around the country or all around the city here and find it. By the way, just so you know, Phoenix is now the 5th largest city in America with a population of 1.6 million people. If you include all of Greater Phoenix, the entire Phoenix metro area, it's over 5 million people. And I think that puts us at number 9 or 10 in the country in terms of metropolitan population. And if I just take a look here real quick, it says Phoenix Facts, according to the city of Phoenix. They haven't updated the most recent census numbers because it says 1.4 million here, but it's actually 1.6. But it does say that Phoenix is Arizona's capital and the 5th largest city in the United States with more than 1.4 million people. The city takes up more than 500 square miles, geographically exceeding Los Angeles. Los Angeles used to be the biggest city in terms of just geographic region taking up space. Now it's Phoenix. The thing that's interesting about this that people keep going back to is they say, they just keep paving the desert. Why do we keep paving the desert? It's like Phoenix just keeps sprawling. If you even look at the 3 largest cities or the 3 fastest growing cities around Phoenix Metro, it's Maricopa, Casa Grande, and I think they said Goodyear. It was, no, Coolidge. So Coolidge, I don't have it all. This is off the top of my head, but Casa Grande, Maricopa, and Coolidge. That's where the most zoning permits for housing have been created. So they're going south. It looks like the city is growing this way towards Tucson. So they are growing out west, but they're not really growing up too far north like they are growing southeast. So this is the area that's growing the most. I don't know if you guys can see. So south of Chandler, south of Queen Creek, Santan Valley, Florence, but Coolidge, Maricopa, all this area around here, Saskatoon, Casa Grande, that's where the big growth is happening. I see you guys in there saying interest rates are mid-4s right now. Yeah, Scott, interest rates are going up. The thing is, why is this happening in Arizona? Why is Arizona experiencing such a major boom? Well, people, they're not happy. People, especially during the pandemic, they've realized they're not happy. And what they started to think about was what counted the most to them. And they started thinking about, guess what? Weather. They hate cold weather. And so that's why there was this exodus south. People moving south. Yes, they're moving out of California, but people are also moving south to Florida, Texas, Arizona, and they're just getting away from the snow. That's what it's ultimately coming down to. Thank you to the 52 people who hit the likes. Thank you to everyone who did that. Red Pill says, button up, button up. Scott said, let's see here. What about Maricopa? Yeah, Maricopa was considered one of the biggest cities getting the most housing permits, because what we have going on here is a housing shortage of supply and demand. So there's so much demand for people moving from other places to here, and there's not enough supply. Typically, on average, throughout the 2010 to 2019, Arizona in January would have around 15,000 listings for homes for sale. Right now, we have around 5,000. That's just raw data I was pulling off the internet. So you can see we're basically 1/3 the inventory that we usually have. So there's a big demand for housing out here in Arizona that we don't typically have in January. But that's Maricopa right there. Now, if we were to keep looking around and see where the highest inflation in the U.S. is, you could see where, this is also, again, Wall Street Journal, where inflation is the highest in the U.S. You could see most of the Midwest and the South hits 30-year high. So inflation happening all across the country, but it's really pounding the southern states. You could see that's what they're basically saying right here. So that just tells me that people are getting out of that cold climate and moving into hot places. Someone said yes, and they dislike bad politics. That's why they moved. Well, we can't talk about politics on this channel, although that is the number one thing that people in the comments like to talk about is politics. But I can't talk about it because it's too much of a polarizing thing. People get too huffy and puffy. They're not. It's like these people, they'll tell their kids, like, why don't you guys be more grown up about it and take it on the, be more grown up about it. And then when it comes to adults talking politics, they can't handle it. They get flustered. They start literally, when they're typing, they start shaking their hands. So we don't talk about that on here. Sorry. I know everyone wants to talk about it because I read the comments. You'd be surprised at what people will turn the political conversation into. So anyway, this is kind of some data moving forward as to what to expect. I read this somewhere else. This is also on the S&P Dow Jones indices, 19% annual home price gain in October. What they basically have said for Phoenix in particular, if I could just kind of dial it in for you, but they said that it's going to go up about 1.1 to 1.3% over 2022 per month, the price of housing. So they anticipate another strong year in 2022. They anticipate as much growth as around 12 to 15% this year from when we went into 2021 to 2022. So they do anticipate more growth happening here, which is really bad news for people who are renters because the rental prices are through the roof already and people are already kind of like, what in the world is going on here? As you could see by the poll that we posted on this group chat here, if we go right here to living in Arizona, you could see 79% of people are really feeling the housing skyrocket. That's out of 1.2 thousand people who've already voted. If you guys don't vote on these community polls, you don't get a chance to vote. But from what I can tell, this is the most unbiased, accurate poll you have in the state of Arizona, because this community of people who vote here, we're not using skewed data. We're not CNN. We're not just basically fudging the data. We're actually like, I can't control this data. So when people are voting, they're using their actual opinions, and I can't control it. Here's something I said 3 days ago. 4.8 thousand people voted. Which state has the best weather in the winter? Well, of course, Arizona comes in at 65%, probably because there's a little bit of a bias, followed by California and Florida. But so, yeah, we do a lot of polls on here, a lot of information. If you guys just went to that community tab on our homepage, you would see it. Or you just go to our homepage and watch some of our other videos because we have a lot of them. We have a lot of videos on this channel to help people get to know Arizona. And I really want to do more off-road Arizona because I know that's what people want. I actually got someone from the Apache Marina reached out to us asking if we could come up there. They said they'll just put us in the resort and we could basically show you guys what it's like to go up here to Apache Reservoir. So they have a marina right here. Really a cool place, especially during springtime. It's like awesome up here at Apache Lake. Out of the 4 lakes along the Salt River, the Roosevelt Lake, Apache Lake, Canyon Lake, and Saguaro Lake, I would say the Apache Lake is probably one of the coolest ones, but it's also the least popular because you kind of have to go like a roundabout. It used to be you could take the Apache Trail to get up there, but that changed. People want me to get mad at Wall Street. No, I'm not going to be able to do that. Sorry. Hampson says, Jeff loves Kingman. Well, Kingman is one of those places that people on this channel love to ask about, but I still don't see the value in it unless you really like being remote. The weather is not that favorable. You don't get like at least here in Phoenix, you get kind of like a mild winter. Like it's been beautiful out here last few days or last week or two. I mean, the weather out here has just been tremendous. I mean, we're talking like, I think 75 degrees. We had a little bit in the 60s last week, but nothing but sunshine. Actually, we need some rain. It's getting ridiculous. I can't drink enough water. That's how dry it is right now out here. So someone says, what do I think about Sahuarita? Wow, that's an interesting change of subject. Sahuarita is awesome, but that's down here by Tucson. I actually was going to go down to Tucson, but it's a nice place down there. Sahuarita is nice. I would rather go with Green Valley. The closer you get to this Mount Wrightson, the better off you'll be, I think, because you can see even on the map, it's around a lot of these mines. But if you can get down here to like Rio Rico, check out Rio Rico. You might like Rio Rico. But I'm not going to spend too much time talking about that. I also wanted to show you guys some interesting data, or at least something that I think is interesting. This is how Phoenix is zoned. You could see Phoenix has zoning around Sky Harbor, basically going towards the west, all industrial. The red is commercial. And then you could see they have also multifamily residentials all around here. So you could see just how, it's just interesting how they zone the industrial. Basically around the airport west, along Grand Avenue, and then they have a little bit up there by Deer Valley. I found that to be interesting. I thought you guys would too. Thanks to 88 people who hit the likes, but we have 208 people watching. So if you haven't already smashed that likes, please do so. It helps get the video out to a larger audience, spread the word, and get the comments out there about how people are really feeling about inflation, getting the story out there, because something needs to be addressed, because the labor, the wages, they're not keeping up. And it's affecting not just people's bottom line, their economics of life, the way that they're able to afford life, but it's also making people cranky. So people are not very happy because when they can't afford to live, they become more unfriendly. You'll be surprised at what economic stability does to someone's personality or their comfort level. When people are really struggling, they become kind of crazy when they're financially struggling. So this inflation that we're feeling with not the wages keeping up, the money's just not trickling down enough, even though there was a lot of people who got very wealthy. A lot of major corporations are reeling in record-setting profits, not just by bottom line, but also by percentage-wise. They're really going gangbusters. But the average American, they're getting hit with higher inflation on gas, higher inflation on housing, higher inflation on food, and they're not seeing a pay raise. So these are things that you guys got to talk about and really say something about it, because if you just act like everything's hunky-dory, they're not going to do it. They're just going to keep printing money. Inflation is just going to keep happening, and the big guys are going to keep getting more money, and you guys are just going to kind of be sitting there holding the bag. And you think I'm joking, but that's why you need to at least make a statement saying, hey, this is how I feel about what's going on. Okay, so we got lots going on all across Arizona. You guys, we'll talk about it later. Someone's asking about Fendi. Yeah, they've got some interesting projects that are being built all across Arizona. But drop the comments after the video is completed. We'll check those comments. Thanks to the community. Thanks to everyone who hit the likes, and we'll see you guys on the next one.